I like dreadnoughts, right? I think dreadnoughts are really, really cool. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna open the video. Dreadnoughts are super, super cool, and it's no surprise they just do super cool shit. I know. Biggest example I can give you right now is Space Marine 2. There's an enemy dreadnought Hellbrute kind of screwing everybody over. Titus is getting real nervous. Boom! Loyalist Big Papa Smurf dreadnought comes in, absolutely demolishes this guy, throws a huge statue or like a stone at like this flying creature of chaos, and immediately says, "Where's Magnus? I'm ready to run. I'm ready to run his fade." You know, safe to say these bad boys are pretty cool, and there's a lot of notable ones off the top of my head I can name. Bjorn, Malkarian, the War Sage from the Night Lords. There is the Warmonger from the Word Bearers Omnibus. There's Rylanor. There's a lot, and it's safe to say these warriors, you gotta be a pretty big badass to be a dreadnought. That's kind of set in stone, right? You gotta have the skills to have your duty denied in death. You're so good that they literally can't have you dying because it would just be a net loss to the Imperium. So they put you in this tomb and they say, "Brother, you can't clock out. You got eternal overtime." And they put you on there, right? But I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about the one dreadnought nobody really knows about, or if they do, it's only in passing knowledge, and I'd feel like he deserves a little bit of a YouTube video, even though he would probably look at me and wouldn't understand what I'm saying, seeing as how the man is thousands upon years old. The Anchorite. So, who is this dreadnought that you may or may not know? Well, he's a word bearer's dreadnought who was traitor, renounced chaos, went back to the loyalists, pretty much was one of the founding members of the whole ecclesiarchy. Very interesting stuff, right? So the Anchorites started, like most of the word bearers, Great Crusade. Everything's going really cool and fine, right? All of a sudden, Logar is starting to preach the word, and the word is the Emperor's a big fat meanie weenie, and he doesn't want us worshiping him as God, as a god, right? The Anchorite's like, bro, you literally are my god. So what does the Emperor do? Absolutely demolishes their homeworld. So what do? They get a little angry, and they, little chance, blood for the blood god, and, the unholy four. They start doing it, but then Calth happens, right? And the Anchorite looks at what's happening and says, wow, Monarchia was a test, and the word bearers failed, which is just one of the most, the hardest line ever. Like, as the kids say, this guy has aura, and he does. The Anchorite firmly decreed that his own Primarch and everybody else in his legion has fundamentally failed the Emperor's test of loyalty, and as such, recused himself, went away, and started to do what Logar was doing, in the Temple of Exile and Meditation. The Anchorite just decides to go all pacifist mode and says, all right, I'm going to chill out, I'm going to reflect, I'm going to preach Laetitio Divinitatis, which is the proto-imperial cult that was starting up in 30k and now, obviously the imperial cult and the belief of the Emperor as a divine being. He's there. And even crazier, his brothers come back because they find out about him, come up to him and say, we need you back, we want you back, you've been captured, this isn't right. So what do? They say, what does the Anchorite do, rather? The Anchorite looks at them and says, ooh, it takes a lot not to break my vow of passivity right now. And he's like, I'm a pacifist, don't want to do this, you guys have failed and you've been led astray and you're fools. So what do? They start killing everybody around him. Bro breaks his oath of pacifism, brutally murders other word bearers, and just says, I'm on demon time right now. So interesting stuff, right? I just think the Anchorite's really cool, and I think dreadnoughts themselves are really cool. They're one of the very few things in Warhammer, honestly, that I'd say it's not argued about in a way that it's like power scaling or which character's better, which faction does this better. They are there's a lot of things I would argue are overrated in Warhammer and things that are underrated, like any other fan, right? But I really would argue dreadnoughts are one of those things where they are literally almost at a perfect level of rated. Everybody agrees they're cool. Everybody agrees they're just really amazing. In the absence of remembrancers in 40K, you want to know the most about a Legion, the Legion's lore and customs, and what the old world was like. You talk to the dreadnoughts. The dreadnoughts know everything and dispense some of the best wisdom and best dialogue I have personally ever read in anything. You know, as I mentioned before, the warmonger, literally insane, still thinks he's in 30K and crusading for Horus. But when he's lucid, gives really good advice. The anchorite, obviously completely different scenario, different character altogether, dispenses wisdom and the devotion of the God Emperor. You don't see it talked about enough. Malkarian, War Sage, guides, and tells Talos about everything that's going on, and he's like, here's what you should do, and then, does his stuff. They're all, and Bjorn, who I'm going to be real about, don't know a lot about, or Rylanor, who just decides to say, yo, Fulgrim, and let's pretend this is like a virus bomb strapped to me, and he's going to go, you want to hear something funny? And then he just presses it and does emotional wounds to Fulgrim. You get what I'm saying? Dreadnoughts are cool. End of story. That's the video. That's what I'm here to say. Angron's Commissar is here to say they're cool. And you should check out the Anchorite. You should go on the Lexicanum and give his stuff a little read. Really cool stuff. And I think he's a character who definitely deserves maybe not a book, but like a little more light shed on him. Maybe some side stories and stuff. Really, really, really cool character who I would definitely love to see more of. And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. I got nothing else to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all later.